fair warning, this is a real estate heavy episode, but we're going to be talking about ways that a homeowner can sell and save thousands of dollars and still have access to some real advice and guidance throughout a real estate transaction.
Georgia living, right here at home. Georgia living, where the good days
Welcome
go.
to Georgia Living Podcast. I'm Celine Evans.
And I'm Chris Evans.
And we are talking about Simply List today.
So we have a lot of updates that we've just rolled out on the Simply List website, and we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the changes and the benefits that are there for our clients and users. But before we start out with that, Celine, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Simply List is?
Yes. So Simply List, in a nutshell, is an advertising service. So I am the bridge between the consumer that's non-licensed to post your home for sale or for rent, or even a commercial, really, but that's really our other division, to the MLS so that you get the same exposure that licensed agents get in Georgia. But there are two MLS services here. And this is very, very important because if you are anywhere near the Metro Atlanta area, you need to know of the existence of First MLS. So FMLS is what we call it. It's not first. If you say first, people might get confused. So this is the MLS that traditionally was the first to be in Metro Atlanta, and people started using it. It's very user-friendly, so people like it. And it seems like a lot of the training is focused on that. So there's another MLS called Georgia MLS, and there's nothing wrong with them, but they didn't start out with Metro Atlanta. They started out statewide, and that's fine. But like I said, if you're in Metro Atlanta, you want to use the one that I feel like people are using. So what we do is we list on both FMLS and Georgia MLS. You get them concurrently. This is a huge, huge point that people need to know. Reason being is that they go to nationwide flat fee brokers. And this is a case where the price, the lowest price, is not always the best. We do both FMLS and Georgia MLS. We charge a small percentage at closing because of the structure of FMLS membership. No way around that. Everyone has the same structure. There are no special plans or anything for anybody. Either you are subscribed or you aren't. And you get exposure with us on FMLS and Georgia MLS. Like I said, we do not list you and forget about you.
So the one thing with Simply List is we're not going to list it and disappear, because we're with you from listing to closing. When you need a change to your listing, we're going to be very responsive to get that done in a timely manner. Everything we turn around on Simply List is a 1 business day response maximum. And we're not no service. We're an only pay for what you actually need. So we have a couple of different plans that we're going to get into now and talk about.
I would say no frills MLS service.
Well,
no, like...
yeah, it's...
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it. You don't need all those extras sometimes, right?
Well, let's talk about the two plans.
Yeah.
With both of our plans, our sellers do a lot of the legwork themselves before we take it to market. So
that's where the discount comes in, is that you are helping to post your listing this way.
So you're not paying for us to show up and drive to your house to change out signs and to stock flyers and host open houses. You're paying for us where it matters, which is in either your marketing or your contract and negotiation. And we provide some support that we'll talk about to help you with some of the marketing and upfront things. Those are done on a fee basis. Things like professional photography, Supra lockbox access. We'll talk about the accessories and kind of the support options a little later. But the two plans are either without help, where you list it yourself. You are negotiating directly with either a buyer or the buyer's representative, and you're able to use contracts because we provide blank GAR forms for you to access. And for somebody who has significant experience with both contract negotiation, with real estate transactions, and resources within the industry that you kind of know what to expect and what to do throughout the process. It's fantastic because you can sell a house by owner, but your marketing does not look by owner. You're getting access to both FMLS and Georgia MLS, as Celine had mentioned, but you're also getting syndication. So if you're considering by owner options, if you look out to list your home by yourself on a third-party public portal, now there might be fees to do that, but even if there aren't fees, you're limited to that portal. When you use Simply List, and we list the property on FMLS and Georgia MLS, those websites, the multiple listing services, talk to thousands of real estate websites.
Like a net.
Mm-hmm. So your big portals, your Z's, your R.coms, your homes, your all apartments.com if you're rental, all of those are going to get your listing. They're also going to go to many more websites because you're listed through a broker. So it works with the IDX platform. An IDX is a broker connection to the MLS. So if you go to any major real estate broker's website or their agents' websites, you're going to display on that as well. So your exposure is the same that you get when you use a full service agent as far as the MLS and the third-party websites that are going to pick up your listing.
Now, this is for without help or with help. I mean,
Yes.
Our two plans that we have, not much variety, with help or without, but it builds on each other. So
It
what
sure
you
does.
get on the without help, you get with help as well, but extras.
So the with help is going to be for somebody who wants the savings, but also doesn't want to do all the contract work.
Or is unsure, or is a former agent who hasn't seen a form in 10 years.
Exactly.
There's so many situations. You can even be a licensed agent and still want the help. That's fine too.
Yeah, we have worked with agents before. So in the with help service, the upfront is the same. But when an offer comes in, that's when you step in to do your job, right, Celine?
Well, upfront, you mean upfront work, right?
All the upfront work, yeah. So like getting your photos and turning everything in, and we'll talk about the process.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, when somebody uses the with help, when a contract is brought in, you step in basically as a full service agent to help them negotiate.
I will hold your hand from offer point on. I won't physically go out to the property because my business model is volume, right? So running around Georgia, that wouldn't be great for business and wouldn't be great for your discount either. But I will take all of the documents that I have and find out which documents we're missing. First of all, ask for those that I need, but take those documents that I have and completely mark them up for you and show you visually, hey, this is what I think of this. This is what I think of this. Because yes, I will talk to you over the phone about it and discuss this with you after I've marked it. But I know that I'm a visual learner. And I think a lot of people are. Yeah.
Yeah, you
so,
really are.
Yes, people can talk to me and I'm trying to follow along, but seeing it right in front of your face helps immensely. And I feel like the conversations are very condensed because they fully understand it right there in front of them. And it makes things so much smoother. So what we do is we discuss things. We go through exact same motions that you would as a full service. Do we want to counter? Do we want to change something? Do we want to accept, okay, this is the deadline, this is not the deadline? Everything is discussed with you.
Everything.
And then we continue on to closing. So you have a full service agent. In theory, over the phone and online, you are represented, so I can help you with amendments and things like that. And we go on to closing. On a without help, I can only do ministerial acts. This is limited by Georgia, by law. I have no choice. If you have a listing agreement without help and you want me to, and you want to upgrade to with help, then I can start talking to you, because your representation is a client at that point. We do have to sign a different listing agreement. But once we have that paperwork, sure, I can open my mouth and actually tell you, hey, this is really wrong. Oh, that doesn't look good. Or this is the best deal ever. Please take it. Whatever it is, I will always tell you what is in your best interest, because I am representing you. Now, what else have we not covered? Because really it's, without help, to recap, it is a ministerial acts only, free up front. You get FMLS, Georgia MLS exposure. You are listed with an agent, so it looks like a full service listing. Only difference is that Simply List is the brokerage. So, but I've seen some very different names too, so take it with a grain of salt. With help, you get the discount by doing a lot of legwork up front. Then I step in from offer point on and act as a full over the phone agent representing a client at that point. Try to make that as clear as possible.
So, the breakdown here is Simply List is a service that can give you thousands of dollars in savings in selling your house. If you're going to if you're comfortable doing a little bit of legwork, ordering and managing the photos, having your house decorated and staged for showings, and you can handle that along with making yourself available to tour the property if somebody's unrepresented, or to be able to leave the house when showings happen. That's all you have to worry about.
Can I tell you and sound like an infomercial?
Please do.
There's more. So, regardless of the package, there are some tools that are available to full service agents that I am also making available to you. And that is the use.
What? Do tell.
That is the use of a software called ShowingTime. And also, I give you a library of forms. So let's talk about ShowingTime first. This is for with help or without help, doesn't matter. ShowingTime is a tool that you can even put as an app on your smartphone, and it will, a variety of ways, depending on what you choose, notify you of a showing request. You can accept it or reject it. You will get the agent's contact information so that, hey, if you need to tell them about a dog or something like that, you can call them and tell them about that. Or if it's like a really strange handle or something like that where you have to jiggle it, they're all different types. So that is ShowingTime. It makes it so convenient. You don't have awkward double-stacked showings, and you also get a record of people who have inquired about that property for their clients. The second thing that is included in with help or without help is the Georgia Association of Realtors forms. Yes, there are free real estate forms out there. Don't use them. Can you tell them why?
I can. So when we were starting out when I was starting out as a broker, we have two contracts in the state of Georgia. One is the RE form contracts. The second is the GAR contracts. Now, the big thing is the contracts aren't written to speak to each other, right? If you're in one contract and you reference a document, they're referencing a GAR version of that document. So you can have this mix match between legal language. And the GAR contracts, provide far more training for real estate agents in the state of Georgia. Every year, thousands of real estate agents are taking training to update themselves on the GAR contracts. The RE forms, they don't offer that level of training. So you're getting a more educated
better written
agent that is using the forms because they know what they're doing. They're getting forms that are worked and reviewed by attorneys much more frequently.
every 6 months.
Yep. And the wording in those contracts is much less, or there's a whole lot less ambiguity, right? Everything is very clear. It's very hard to misinterpret. So it's a great service to be able to have that. And those forms do cost us money every year to have access to.
Hundreds of dollars. We buy them every year, and then we make them available to the people we have listing agreements with. And it's on our website with a password, so you can't get in it without a password, without being listed with us. But once you are, I provide that password, and you can go in and get it at any time. They're all blank forms, but you have taught me, and not that I was aiming for this or anything, but you have taught me the best thing to do is to stay out of court, right? Because nobody wins in court.
You can go to court and win, but it's a whole lot better to never be there.
Right. Nobody wants to be there.
Yeah.
Not even the judges, probably.
They're paid.
But yeah, using the GAR forms, the Georgia Association of Realtors, you're going to have a lot more protection and a lot more confidence that you won't end up there. Because when you do, guess what the judge is reviewing? The poorly written contract. And to actually have a claim, I don't know. Best of luck. So use GAR forms.
So I think this is also one of the biggest differences between FSBO, for sale by owner, and using Simply List. When you're doing it by owner, you don't know what contracts are available. If you list your house on just a third-party website and an agent comes and brings you an offer, you're only seeing the contract forms that agent has presented to you. You don't know that there may be a counteroffer form or how to counteroffer. You don't know that there might be a disclosure that you're missing that you're obligated to provide based off of the county that you live in. So there's a lot of things there, and the Simply List library includes the most common forms. So if you glance through the library real quick, it's going to tell you, for the most part, your disclosures that you have to provide. There's one that's the DeKalb County plumbing disclosure. That's always there. Every house sale in the county of DeKalb requires that. So, brokers aren't always going to educate you if you're doing this by yourself. They're going to try and take advantage of you doing this by yourself. So the big difference between Simply List and a for sale by owner is you have a powerful marketing engine behind you, and it's at a very absorbable cost.
I need to make one distinction, though, and this is a very, very common thing that I get. People think that Zillow is an MLS. It is not.
No.
People think that websites are MLSs. It is not. Those are IDX feeds. They come from the MLS. And you can either choose to syndicate it or not. It's an on or off switch. There's no click, 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 go here, don't go here. It's either, on or off. Yeah, that's it. And so I do not have control over for-profit companies like Zillow, Trulia, which is the same company.
Realtor.com, homes.com.
I don't. And those are their own coding. So I potentially could call their customer service, I guess, but Zillow doesn't even give you a phone number, right?
It's hard to find.
It is so hard to find. And so I don't do that because they are trying to capture leads for themselves.
Those companies are trying to make your sale more expensive by taking buyers who are inquiring on the property and connecting them with an agent who is not representing you. That's how they make money.
Yep. My information is like tiny at the very bottom. And then they're like, book a showing with one of our agents, So I get it. That's their advertising. That's their company. They are for profit. They're not pretending to be nonprofit. Do what you do, but I work on the MLS, Georgia MLS and FMLS or First MLS in Georgia only.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about the difference in pricing between the two plans.
So let's start with without help at 0.35% at closing. Nothing up front.
$350 for every $100,000 that your house sells for at closing. It's a very affordable rate.
Yes. And
Especially
remember
for the marketing.
that you get access to the GAR forms. You get access to ShowingTime if you choose to. Some people don't. And you get access to Georgia MLS and FMLS. I cannot do anything other than ministerial acts for without help listings at 0.35% at closing. This is a very common question as well. Remember how I said that FMLS has a percentage that they charge to the buyer's side and then the seller's side? Did you know that's included in the 0.35%?
What?
Yeah.
No way. You're doing it for that?
There is no other fee on top of that unless you choose to get an a la carte item like a Supra Lockbox or a sign. That's on you.
Yes.
But our fee, there's nothing hidden. It's 0.35% at closing, 0 upfront. Very simple. Now, the with help. I'm going to let you talk about this because you get everything that the without help gives you other than, there's a different type of representation, like I said.
Yes. So in the without help, you have what Georgia considers a customer relationship with us. It's defined in our listing agreements when you sign up. So we recommend you read through them. But essentially, we can't give you our professional opinion. If you ask a question that requires anything other than just a fact-based answer, we have to refer you to an attorney. If you are a with help, then you are considered a client under Georgia regulations. So with that, we can offer our professional opinion, which is why when you sign up with help, you can request a CMA or comparative market analysis of your home. And when you that is going to be a sight unseen disclaimer, right? Because we don't go out to the homes for Simply List. We are going to look at the neighborhood sales, what's active, what's pending, and what has sold within the last 3 to 6 months.
Historic photos, everything.
We're going to look at historic photos. If you've uploaded your photos to us, by the time we're ready to do the CMA, we will incorporate those photos into the analysis. And we're going to try and find a home that is comparable to you. And if we have, say there's 2 homes in the neighborhood that recently sold, one of them has all new everything and one of them has all old everything, and your home is right in the middle, we're going to make adjustments to try and figure that out.
But we're not talking about nitty-gritty like an appraisal.
Correct.
We're talking about an analysis so that we can try to hit the mark as closely as possible.
We want to get you on the dartboard for price.
Yes.
If you're on the dartboard, buyers are going to play the game. So that's huge. You're going to be able to get a CMA. 2 is because you're a client, we're going to be able to interact with other agents on your behalf, which means that we can talk to the buyer's agent, we can talk to the buyer's lender, we can find out we can discern the level of pre-qualification and the level of how qualified the buyer is for you. And these are things that we do on a daily basis for our with help clients. So we're going to be able to do a lot more work to give you more confidence in the sale. You're also going to have a third party negotiating on your behalf, which is huge because residential real estate is a lot different than commercial. Commercial, it's all business and numbers. Residential is highly emotional because the consumers that are transacting in residential real estate are not all hardcore business number people. They are people who this is going to be their home. It's a very emotional connection sometimes, and having that break between seller and buyer can oftentimes remove a lot of that emotion from negotiation, which can help things go a lot smoother. I have a story on that too, but we'll talk about that later if we have time. So with help is going to be 0.75%.
But what happens if they don't have an agent? The buyer doesn't have an agent.
Oh, Great segue. If the buyer is unrepresented, there's more work that we have to do. Ooh, there's the mic. There's a lot more work that we have to do because we're going to go through and do some of the work that a buyer's agent would have done before hiring that buyer and submitting that offer. And that's going to be, we're going to vet them. We're going to go through, we're going to talk a lot more in depth to the lender. We're going to find proof of funds and pre-quals. We're going to make sure that everything lines up time-wise. We're going to try and understand their needs, wants, and make sure and find out what's important to them so that as we go through negotiations, we can try and have a little bit better opportunity of finding some success.
But we don't represent them.
We do not represent them. We represent the seller. But
So
the
we
buyer,
keep the seller's interests in mind.
the buyer could be a customer in the transaction. We don't do dual agency where we represent two parties. But in the situation like this where a buyer is unrepresented, they're a customer, we are representing the seller as a client, we do charge an additional quarter point, so 0.25%, for the extra work that we have to do.
Yep.
But that means that you sell your house for 1% total.
Yeah.
So it's really a wonderful
When we
package.
say 1%, I mean, this is 1% of the sales price for
Yes.
people who have never sold before.
So if the buyer is represented, they have their own agent, that buyer's agent is going to ask for their commission in the contract. That'll be part of the negotiations. When it comes to your fee for the listing side, it is 0.75% or $750 for every 100,000 sold. If the buyer is represented by somebody else, if the buyer is unrepresented, that fee jumps to 1% even, but you have no other expenses. So it covers our additional time and effort for the management of that buyer for your contract and answering their questions, because sometimes this can be a few hours on the phone.
I mean, think about it. All these concerns that the buyer has, they would be talking to their agent about, right? On the phone. That's what we're doing now.
Yes. Or in a situation where if it was without help, that unrepresented buyer would be dealing directly with the seller.
Well, I have another question.
Yeah, what's that?
Okay. What if I have all the confidence in the world, which I do have some, but what if I choose without help and then I'm like, oh,
We've had this situation.
I got stuck.
We had a without help who got an unrepresented buyer and didn't want to do the whole thing themselves. So on our website, under the listing dashboard, there is a listing modification form. And in that form, you can select upgrade service. And upon completion of the form, it's going to email you a new document to sign, which is your new upgraded with help listing agreement. And once you sign the with help listing agreement, then we can step in and represent you. At closing, the fee is the with help fee, but you're going to get our level of service from contract to close.
But isn't it nice not to to be able to try for that discount of 0.35, but if you don't make it, you're not left hanging off a cliff like, some of those scary movies are just dangling there.
It is.
We
nice
don't do that. You have a safety net. I promise you.
Because we can't downgrade. We can't take a client relationship and move you to a customer.
You've already talked.
You've already been a client.
Yeah.
We already have all of the legal requirements of a client in place. So we can't downgrade you. But we can always upgrade you. Yep. And absolutely, that was a great point to bring up. So either way, whether it's with help or without, you're going to be able to save thousands. And now let's talk a little bit about those upfront additional services that we offer that are going to allow you to, it makes the work of getting the property ready and doing that on yourself a lot easier.
Now, are you talking about our a la carte items?
I am.
Okay, great. The first question that I usually get is, do you provide Supra lockboxes? And those are Bluetooth lockboxes. I wonder if we have one around here.
I don't have it in the studio now.
Well, you can look on our website, simplylistatlanta.com, and it is a Bluetooth lockbox that has the key inside securely. To open this lockbox, you must have a license and you must subscribe and pay a monthly fee to the Supra company to use the digital key. Then the agent goes and then they do the Bluetooth connection thing through their phone, and the key pops out. However, you as a seller also get something because it records their information once that key comes out. So you know who accessed that house at that time and when they put the key back. Now, it does time out after an hour, I believe, right? An hour or so?
Yeah, the Supra box will automatically time out.
If they're there
the showing
forever,
hasn't
you know,
ended.
like just lingering.
It will let you know when the showing's concluded if they've put it all back within a certain time frame.
But it's generous. So stick it back and then it records, right? Mm-hmm. Why is this important?
Well, we've had lots of situations over the years where a seller has called us and said, an agent left my lights on, or the home inspector left the heat cranked up, or the door was unlocked.
Wide open.
Or there's no key in the lockbox. An agent forgot to put the key back.
That is so common.
It is.
Yeah.
So in all of these situations, when you have the Supra lockbox, we're able to log in, see what agent accessed the box, call that agent and say, hey, by the way, did you happen to forget to replace the key after the showing? Because you were the last to access
or
the
else
box
you wouldn't know who to contact and narrow it down.
Yes.
Now, there are also some incidences where things get damaged. And yes, the agent's supposed to be watching their client, but sometimes they have little children or, children of children, or, they might have different motives as well.
You can't foresee all the unforeseen.
No, but you can at least narrow it down to kind of try to pinpoint and ask some questions about whatever happened. So there are multiple uses for this Supra key. It only works in certain areas. Mm-hmm. And so you can't be in Savannah. It does not work there, although we can list there. It doesn't work in Columbus. Really, the further away from the Metro Atlanta you get, the less it works. And you have to double check with us to make sure if you're further away from, let's just double check and make sure that that is a serviceable area.
Absolutely. So when you're listing your house,
oh, wait.
The a la carte,
No. There's more a la carte items, right?
The a la carte services are going to be designed to help you with that. So we have, there's a lot that we have to offer. And when you sign up to create your first listing, it's going to ask you whether or not any of these apply to you. Some of these are going to be things like open house advertisements. Do you plan to host an open house?
Yeah. So the second most common thing that I get is signage, right? Because when they list, they're like, okay, where do I put the key and how do I advertise in front of my house? Those are the two main things. Signage is huge. Now, we used to offer corrugated cardboard, but we do not offer that anymore. No. They are professionally made signs. They are the styrene type, so it's the hard backed. Mm-hmm. They look no different from any sign that you see out there. It's got the white post that's hanging, and everything. It's super easy to install.
Do you want to know why?
Well,
because they're made from the same sign manufacturer that we get all of our full service signage for in Metro Atlanta.
Oh, so you're just cutting out the middleman.
So as a limited service brokerage, we want our customers to be proud of their listings. And you're proud of your home, you're proud of your investment, you're proud of your project that you've renovated and you're bringing to market. Why would you want to have something that says this home is worth less than anybody else?
Would you put a graduation banner out there or graduation sign? No.
No. So we have two different sign types. We have both the hanging style that comes with a post, and we have the in-ground that has the stake as a part of the sign. Mm-hmm. And when you order these, your number gets displayed on the sign. So the production goes in and it says it has all the legal requirements of a real estate sign for Georgia, which there are legal requirements. So our signs are compliant. But when it goes, it says call owner, your phone number, and then it has Simply List's contact information at the bottom. Mm-hmm. This way, it does show that you're the contact, but it looks high quality. It looks like you care about your home and you care about your listing. And that's what we want to be able to convey to the public, because the public wants to know that you care about it. And this is one way of doing it.
Production is very short.
About 7 business days for most of Metro Atlanta from start to finish. When we get the order, when we get your order, which includes the sign payment, within 1 business day, we're turning around to our sign manufacturer and we're putting the order in. Within 1 business day, they're going to provide us the proof of the artwork. We're going to match it up and make sure that the number that you provided for us for the sign is the number that's on the sign.
If you mistype, that's your problem, though.
That's your problem.
You did it.
But after all orders, you get email confirmations with everything that you typed in. So if you see that something's wrong, you can let us know. But when they send us the proof, we approve it. It goes into production same day or next day. And then 2 to 3 days later, they're going to have that finished. It then gets shipped via UPS, which for most of Metro Atlanta, it'll ship out Wednesday and it's going to be delivered Thursday.
So you might be asking why these two, and there are more a la carte items, but why, if these things are so commonly asked, why isn't it just included in a package, right? The lockbox and the sign. Reason being is that some neighborhoods have restrictions in their covenants about selling homes, and they're prohibited, or they might need a custom sign, or
like Arrowhead is
right. So, or think about it. You're occupying the home. You don't want your neighbors to know that it's for sale.
Some people don't want signage. That's okay too.
Yeah, that's okay too. So there's so many instances where, you might not be able to have a sign. So why work it in and charge you for something that you're not going to use?
And then on the lockbox side, Simply List is used all throughout the state of Georgia. We are limited in Georgia, but we have sold from St. Mary's all the way up to Clayton. And if you know St. Mary's, that's on the Florida line, and Clayton is on the North Carolina line. So we've covered the whole territory. But our lockboxes are registered through FMLS and Georgia MLS. They work for Metro Atlanta, and they work for anybody who has a Georgia MLS affiliated lockbox statewide. The challenge there is that as you go outside of the metro area, you start getting into more regional multiple listing services like Middle Georgia, Athens, North Georgia.
They're usually smaller.
Carpet Capital. And those agents usually use lockboxes registered through the local MLS. So the FMLS lockboxes are great. They're a wonderful service. But we've had plenty of people who are outside of Metro Atlanta. They want FMLS for a reason I'll talk about in a second, because it gives a lot more exposure. But the lock boxes don't work for most agents where they are. So they use a combo box, or they have a smart lock that
or they live there and they just open the house.
Yeah. And they keep a record of who's going in, get the agent's information before they tour, and that's it.
So what else is a la carte?
All right. So one of the new things that we've added for a la carte items, it comes after years of us looking at listings and just wondering what people were putting up there. And that is professional photography. So we have now created an order form as part of your checkout process when you're signing up for your listing, is you can schedule professional photography to come out to your house if you're in Metro Atlanta. And they will shoot all the homes, or they'll shoot the home. And if you want, they'll also shoot your community features. If you have an HOA with a clubhouse, pool, tennis, and you want that shot, they'll do it. So when you place your order, you can select professional photography. And I grew up around a camera. When I was 16, I had a darkroom at school, and I really learned a lot about photography. The folks that we use for photography have always delivered exceptional quality photos. I think I've had one piece of feedback in 10 years of using them, and that was that the color matching didn't come out right. So she sent me a photo of the color. We sent it back into editing, and they corrected it and matched the color for the cabinets because it came out a little bit browner. It was more gray. So they adjusted the lighting and had it sent right back. Everything else always great feedback from our customers and
this
clients
is
on
what
our
they do.
photography.
They're professional home photographers.
So the photography is based off of square foot. There's one price if you're under a certain amount of square footage, and then it's a surcharge if you're over a certain amount of square footage.
So, but what if you have your own, or if you okay, so if you have your own, you can definitely use them if they belong to you. And this is my pause. The reason for this pause is that
if they belong to you.
If they belong to you. So in a scenario where, say, I bought a house and I fell in love with it because of the photos, right? Like you're dating homes and you pick one, you're like, this is the best, right? Those photos might not belong to you, even though you bought the home. Reason being...
Well, the photos definitely don't belong to you if you bought the home.
Well, the reason why I'm saying is that might not is because if the previous person who paid to have those photos taken or took those photos does not give you permission written, then you have no digital right to it. It sounds so petty, but it's true.
Even with that, there's... Generally speaking, you need permission. You need license to use photos. Mm-hmm. Who owns the license, you don't know unless you've actually seen the license from the photographer that was given to the original purchaser of those photos. Because some licenses don't transfer copyright. It would actually go back to the photographer if it's used in a commercial setting, not by the seller. Mm-hmm. So if you're using photos that were somebody else's, make sure that you have written permission from somebody else, because we're not going to ask you, but in your listing agreement, you are going to state that you have permission to use the photos that you provide to us. So you need to make sure that you do. This means that you can't go onto the old listing and download photos that are watermarked from the MLS and upload those to us. Those actually, there's restrictions against watermarked photos. We can't put them up. And if you've taken the photos yourself, you own the copyright, no issues. So if you take photos and you upload them, we've made an upgrade to our photo policy with Simply List. So now you can upload up to 100 photos for your listing.
Nobody has ever reached the limit to this day. Nobody.
No. Really?
They've come close,
okay.
But no, nobody's reached 100 yet.
Well, we have
plenty of room.
We will take your photos and we will put them into the MLS in the order that you uploaded them, how you named them. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the...
Oh, you do have to number them in order, though. That is... I'm not going to sit there numbering them. There are too many, especially if there are like 60, 70 of them. Mm-hmm. Number them. They upload in sequential order, so...
And then when it comes to the professional photography, if you order photography through us, the photography is going to come directly to us. So you actually won't have to upload your photography into the website.
And they are ordered and numbered as well. So you don't have to worry about that.
And we will, as soon as we get a copy of them, we'll send you the preview link so that you can access and see all your photos.
Well, I guess we should talk about open houses and the restrictions on open houses as well. So open houses are $35 for each weekend. If you want to do Saturday, Sunday, sure, I'll lump it all together. Reason is that we actually have a separate open house section on the MLS, and it's not just like I can click something. I do have to input it, and then it has to advertise. The best days to do this are Wednesday, Thursday, so that people can get ready for the weekend with their clients and do their phone calls and make sure that everything's okay. The questions that I get about open houses. So
ask the questions. I'll answer as a broker.
I do not go out to them. I do not host your open house.
Correct.
We do not have the agents that are available to it because we are a different type of company.
That's a full service fee that I do.
Yes, full service. You can host your own open house. You can.
Yes. As a seller, if your name is on title, you can host an open house.
So, Chris, who cannot?
Anyone else.
Anyone.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. An attorney can sell a house in the course of doing their job. A CPA can sell their house in the course of doing their job. An employee of an employer can sell a house.
Or like a licensed property manager, yeah.
Like well, not even that. If it's like a private company and the company owns the house and they have an employee that works for them representing,
there's specific
they can do that.
agreements that have to be written and stuff, though. So,
and we need to verify that, people have signing authority.
Yeah.
But that's it. Your neighbor cannot host your open house. Your friend cannot host your open house.
Yeah.
A broker with another firm can, with written permission from both Simply List and from that agent's broker.
The likelihood of that happening is none.
No, because we don't sign off on another broker taking that liability. There's a lot of ethic issues involved with broker agents from one firm working with a seller from another firm. You're actually, by ethics, you're not supposed to have communication around that.
I mean, we're talking about ethics code. We're talking about BRETA, I believe.
License law. So anybody who is quoting and showing your property has to have a written brokerage agreement with you, the seller. We have that. Because when you sign up, you sign the brokerage agreement with us. That's what hires us, and what you give us the authority to quote to people facts and things about your property that you give us. You don't give that to a buyer's agent. You don't give that to an agent who has no representation in the game, and they're just hosting an open house trying to get leads. There's regulations involved that prohibit that. And if you ask our office, that is the answer we're going to tell you.
Nope.
No.
We do have errors and omissions that we have to pay for insurance purposes.
And we don't want to file a claim. We haven't had to file a claim because we know how the industry works and we want to keep it that way. So
I mean, y'all, we're not a corporation. We are a mom and pop shop.
We're an LLC.
We're an LLC, and we are East Cobb natives. We have been here. My family's been here since the 70s. I mean, this is our home, right?
Yeah, I've lived here in Cobb County since I was 11.
Yeah, I was born here. So.
I don't really know anything much else anymore.
Our kids were born here. I mean, Claire was born at Kennestone Hospital. I mean,
we're heavily involved in our community here in Marietta and the surrounding area. So what else do we have for a la carte items?
Those are really the main ones.
There's one more that I can think of.
What did I miss?
The coming soon. So right now there's a lot of talk in the industry about marketing and how to market. And do you put your property on the market beforehand? Or here's where coming soon helps. Coming soon is perfect if you either want to generate a little talk about the listing, or you've got the photos done, but maybe the exterior photos are done, but you're finalizing some stuff inside. Then you can have the coming soon listing done to build interest in the market. And then when everything's ready, we switch it to active status. And then when it switches to active status, you will have had people looking at the property for weeks, waiting for it to be ready, so that hopefully your first weekend is going to have a lot more traffic and be more likely to bring you an offer for a buyer who is ready.
But you cannot show it during coming soon. That is strict.
Yep.
Don't try.
And if your strategy is to list at one price and see what the feedback is and then maybe drop, that strategy doesn't usually work either, because the most effective coming soon strategy is when you have your house priced to sell. That's when there's going to be demand for people to want to see it. And then when you open it up for showings, when it's active, you're going to have a lot of people come to look at it because it's priced to sell. If you price it optimistically, sellers, then when the property goes active, you might still have crickets, because the people that are looking at it and were excited for it to come live, now they're just going to wait and see what you do on pricing, and they're not going to come out and look at it.
So this isn't a more balanced market that we're talking about. Now, we've had some strange markets, like a seller market, buyer markets. We're not talking about those extremes. We're talking about middle of the road.
Yep. And while the property is in coming soon status, you can't show the property at all.
Don't try.
Because it's about fair cooperation. And you don't want to, because as a seller, if I want to get a really, if I'm a buyer and I want to get a good deal on a house, I'm going to submit the first offer. And hopefully nobody else submits. And that way the seller's looking at it and is like, oh, this is the best I got. All right, I'm going to take it and run with it and call it a day.
So I want to talk about something different now because I think that's all the a la carte items, right?
That should cover it for the a la carte items.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anything I missed?
Well, we need to talk a little bit about the new platform because Simply List just underwent a huge facelift. We've been coding this for months, debugging and trying and working on all sorts of aspects of the website.
It's been a long journey.
From our users, right? So if you've used Simply List in the past, thank you for your feedback. It has gone into rounds and rounds of redevelopment. And now we have our new listing dashboard. So in the past, there was a lot of tech that wasn't talking to each other. That is gone. When you sign up for Simply List now, you're going to start your order. It's going to put in some basic information about the property. It's then going to ask you what service level you want, whether that's commercial, residential, rental, with help or without. So you get to choose the type of property and the service level. The rentals are all without help, so there's no option there. But for residential, you choose with help or without. Then it will walk you through the add-ons that we mentioned. If you want the coming soon, you want the open house scheduled, photography, all of that right at the order form. Now, if you're not getting any extras and you just want us to list the house and you have the photos, is there a charge to list?
Is there?
No, there's no upfront fee. So it'll subtotal. There won't be a place for a credit card. It'll ask you to submit the form instead of checking out. Once you've submitted or checked out with your form, it's going to redirect you to your listing dashboard, which will have your property with your address and all the resources for that. There'll be a button to continue your listing. When you open that up, it has the breakdown of every step for your listing. It'll ask you to start your listing agreement, which will take you to a form where you fill out the additional information that's required for your listing agreement. That's going to be asking you questions about the age of your house and whether lead-based paint is applicable. It's going to ask you questions about any special circumstances, whether there's a divorce, the seller is not on title, like Celine just mentioned. That would be a special circumstance. Whether there's an estate, a bankruptcy, you'll have the ability to put any circumstances that require third-party approval in there. It'll ask you to put in your listing date and a few other things. After you complete that form, it'll say complete or create my listing agreement. Then the form shows up in your inbox. Your dashboard will update to say that your listing agreement has been sent. Once everybody who signs that listing agreement, if there's one owner, one person, two owners, two, plus Celine as the broker, once everybody's signed, your dashboard is going to update the status to signed. So you're going to know where everything is in process at every stage of the listing. After you complete your listing agreement, it's going to ask you to complete your property information form. This form, where you go, this is where you tell us all the features of the home. You're going to tell us how many bedrooms are on each floor and baths. You're going to tell us, the interior, exterior features, the community, the HOA information, all of it. Now it's savable. When you save that form, you can go back and resume that form from the listing dashboard. When you complete the form, the dashboard will update. Now, because everything talks together, you're not inputting the same thing twice. You don't have to input your address when you sign up and when you fill out the photo form and when you do the info. It's all in there once. After you complete the property information form, then you go to the photo upload. We separated it. We made the forms smaller, more compact. They load so much faster. No issues with lagging or anything getting submitted incomplete.
It was just a beast of a form.
It was a beast of a form, and really it was resource heavy. So we've split it up. We have separated out the forms depending upon the type of listing that you do. So everything moves a lot faster. After you complete the photo upload and all 3 steps are done, then your listing dashboard will display that it is ready for review under the MLS status. At that time, the office gets an email and it says, hey, this user has uploaded everything. We're ready to go. So Celine will then go in, review everything. If there's anything missing, she'll get back with you and make any adjustments needed to get that corrected. And then your property will be listed within 1 business day. On this same dashboard, this is where you control everything. You have a listing modification. If you start out your listing with your own photos and after a few weeks you decide, you know what? The feedback I'm getting is saying that I need new photos and you want to order photography. You can go to the listing modification form and order photography. You can add a sign, you can add a lockbox at any time. What else can you do? This is also where you can upgrade. If you started out without help and you decided that you want to go to with help, this listing modification form is where you have that option. This is also where you can cancel your listing. And our cancellation, $75 early cancellation fee, anytime. We'll submit it within 1 business day and have your property off the market. There's also an option where you can choose to just notify us not to renew your listing. Our listings with Simply List have an auto renew provision,
No
which
fee.
makes them good until sold. We do not charge you to renew your listing if it doesn't sell in 3 months or 6 months or a year. It can be on the market for as long as you want it. And then
So the way to tell me not to let it renew is in the form as well. So
Yes.
please read that. It's very simple. At least 3 days before the actual expiration date, you have to let me know, or else I'll let it renew for another 3 months.
And our termination policies are detailed clearly in our listing agreement, which after you sign it, you get a copy of it in your inbox as well to keep as a PDF.
But the cost to, take it off in between those 3-month increments is $75.
Yeah, and there's fees that are passed through from the MLS for taking a property off early. So it's not like we're charging that just for us. It's a pass-through cost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last thing on the listing dashboard is access to your contracts. Mm-hmm. So whether you're a rental or a without help,
the digital library.
You have a digital library under your property information where you can access the most commonly used forms for your listing. So if it's a rental, you're going to have access to the lease application, the lease forms, any amendments, pet exhibits, all that stuff. And then on the for sale, you're going to have access to all the standard disclosures and just the 99% most commonly used forms out of the library. And if there's a unique form that you need that we don't have because it's not commonly used, then we're happy to provide that for you. So you have access to those forms. It's all right there in the dashboard. And when you log in, everything saves to your account now. So if you are one of our investors who sell multiple properties, when you go into your dashboard, there's a button that says Start New Listing, and now that's going to create a second property card where your listing agreement, your property information form, your photos, it's all tied now to the property and not to your user account. So you can now do multiple orders and keep track of all of your transactions under your account. It really is a wonderful feature. This is round 1 of the redevelopment, and we have a roadmap. There's going to be additional features that come down the road. So as you're using Simply List and you give us feedback, it doesn't happen fast, but we do take that feedback and make changes.
I have another frequently asked question.
Ooh.
Now, is this all of the update that you have on the dashboard?
That is
Pretty much it, right?
That is most. I mean, it's a lot. It was a ton of coding,
but I don't want to take away and cut you off.
That is the dashboard update. We have not added any new services. We have dramatically improved the user experience.
It looks good.
Thank you.
Another question that I have is, how do I get the leads? First of all, we don't keep any of these leads. We don't be like, oh, this is a juicy worm, let's keep it for ourselves. We don't do that. Leads come to me in so many different ways. Sometimes it's a text message, a digital voicemail, an email, a phone call. Who knows how I get contacted? If it's a phone call and it's an agent who has access to the MLS, I'll reroute them like a switchboard and say, hey, could you please look at the private remarks that was on the listing before you scrolled past it to my name and number? Because, agents don't read.
We actually call it RDR. Realtors don't read.
So I'll reroute them if they're licensed. If they are unrepresented, I will give them your phone number, contact, and they can contact you directly. If it is a message that they left in any form, I will reroute it to you. So I really am a switchboard. Other than that, we do still forward messages on the weekend. However, it may be just once a day. And voicemails as well.
It's usually at least twice. You're doing it when you wake up for anything that came in overnight, and then you're doing it after the day on Saturday and Sunday.
Now, if you're with help and we're actively under a contract, we do have business hours, but when you're under contract, and that doesn't apply because we have a contract hours, so only in that situation. Otherwise, we're going to be business hours.
We are business hours unless you are with help and you are under contract and we're negotiating. If we're not up against a contract deadline, then it can wait until Monday. But if it is up against the contract deadline, say we have due diligence ending on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Well, guess we're working at 11:58 p.m. on Sunday unless we get it done earlier.
Well, another important question is, where does my contact information go? Meaning the seller, right? MLS has regulations of where I can put things and where I can't. I can't just shove something in the private remarks or the public remarks and then let it go, because I will get fined and that fine will be passed along to you.
Contact information is restricted by the MLS in public remarks because it gives an unfair competitive advantage to the listing agent, because if they allowed contact information, it would say, call listing agent Celine at Simply List's phone number to schedule a showing. And then buyers would be swayed towards the listing agent and not towards getting their own representation. Therefore, all contact information is prohibited from the public-facing remarks.
That's in the public remarks. Now, the public remarks go into like your Zillow description and stuff like that.
Homes.com, everywhere.
Those are called third-party websites, not MLSs, and they don't publish the private remarks section that are visible to licensed agents on the MLS. They are not on third-party websites. So your information can go in the private remarks section. It says contact owner for showings. There's your phone number. There's your email address.
And every listing we put it in. Like it's not like it can. We put your contact information in the private remarks of every single listing.
Yes. There's also a second location called the showing contact. I can put your name and phone number in there. Just two little blanks that I can fill in.
Yep.
And so those are the two places on the listing itself that these people can catch your contact info.
The third place is on the sign if you choose to order one.
Yes.
Okay. So these are the three areas where you can have your contact information on the listing.
Yes. So I've also been asked if they can change where my name is. And I said, no. Remember I said you have to be a licensed agent to be on the MLS. If you are asking to be put your information in my licensure, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. What are some other frequently asked questions, honey? How long does it take you to list a property?
So once you have the required information, which is the listing agreement and property information form, along with the photos, if it's a complete file, I can do it within 1 business day with a cutoff of noon on Fridays, because what happened a few years ago is that people got really slow. Then they dumped it all on me on Fridays and I had no weekends. So we're not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a good minute to get a listing put together properly and reviewed before we send it to the owners. Oh, and how do you know? Here's another question. How do you know what's being advertised as the owner?
So as soon as it is posted, we don't have a preview option, but as soon as it's posted, I will send you a PDF printout via attachment to an email so that you can review all of what a licensed agent would see, because you don't have that login and you don't have that license. If there's anything that does need to be changed, then you just email me, no charge. I'll go ahead and do those changes for you.
Mm-hmm. And what's the process if somebody wants to make a change when they're listing their home? Like they list their home and then they need to make a price drop, or like nobody's touring and they want to drop their price. How do they do that?
It's so hard. No, you just send me an email, have it in writing, and then I'll file it away and do the request.
We take now the email that you send has to be the email that's on your contract, right? We use one email for legal communications.
Yeah, you can't pretend to be somebody.
Yeah. So when you're communicating with us, use one email, but send us a request, and then Celine saves the request, uploads it as a PDF into your file, so that we have documentation that you've requested that done.
I would say we covered pretty much everything that I can think of.
One thing I want to cover on this episode that we normally don't cover is I want to talk about some real stories.
Well, those are stories, but as far as the structure of Simply List, I think we've pretty much answered all the questions that usually are asked.
We definitely have.
Yeah, and so we really should tell you our qualifications, because we're not just data input people. We are licensed brokers. Now, he's the principal broker. I'm an associate broker. Same test, but he has a little bit more responsibility. He's in charge of other people.
So I think it's great that you bring this up, because you alluded to it earlier. I have used a flat fee broker in a different state before. I'm not going to mention their names, but one of the frustrating parts of that was that I was licensed in that state, but we just didn't have a company established. I wasn't an MLS member.
Right.
And I didn't plan to.
Because you don't pay the dues to be a part of that MLS.
So I generally knew what needed to be done to list the house, but the people that were working for the company were not licensed agents that I was interacting with. They were virtual assistants. Mm-hmm. They were unlicensed, and their job was to follow a checklist. And if that checklist wasn't completed perfectly, then they just wouldn't do anything. So it ended up taking me about 2.5, 3 weeks to get my listing from order to live.
It was insane.
It was...
We're talking about one of the national...
No, we're not going to say anything. They're in multiple states. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, that's what I meant. Is multiple states. That's considered national, right?
Well, or regional.
Okay.
But
that's what I was trying to say.
But the point is that because Celine and I are both brokers, there are 2 licenses in the state of Georgia. You have a salesperson's license. That gives you a license to work under a broker, me. Or you can be a broker. And the broker's license has 2 distinctions. You're either a managing broker, which is what I am, and that is when you are the head license of a brokerage and all the agents under that. We have about 50 agents between our companies that all work under my license. And then if you are not the managing broker, your license is hung as an associate broker, and that's what Celine is. And she has her associate broker's license in Georgia. These are not easy licenses to get. They require an immense time commitment. They also require an immense educational experience level commitment before you can get it. And
we have different CE requirements too.
we do have different CE requirements. We have to take broker level CE, where your salesperson does not.
Right.
Which there's just a lot more of the risk management side and an operational side, earnest money side. So the great things here are, I think, if you're looking for value for experience, I would be surprised if you can find a better option for the amount of experience that you get in the team behind you for the price that you pay for the service you get. As long as we've been doing this, I have brokered personally over $1 billion worth of real estate sold in the state of Georgia. And Celine, you deal with different personalities all the time. What are some of the ways that you split the emotion from the transaction when you're communicating with your clients on the with help side?
On the with help side?
On the with help. That's the only time we do this.
It really depends. I mean, it depends on the situation, but let me tell you guys, it is so nice to have a wall between you and crazy.
There's a lot of crazy.
I don't think many of these would go to the closing table if I wasn't in the middle as a barrier.
Many. So I want to give a couple of stories and talk about some situations that we've dealt with in Simply List, because, it's hard to kind of understand what you're getting until you really kind of see what we've done. Mm. So we do have confidentiality. I'm not going to discuss names. I'm not going to discuss anything that's location related. But there was one instance where we had a seller who was trying to do it by themselves. And this was several years ago. They were having a hard time with getting the pricing right. They were having a hard time with getting the photos right. They did an upgrade to with help. And the important thing with this one was the seller was buying in another state. Mm-hmm. So they needed to get their house sold in order to keep that contract on course. And there were, in this situation, it was like a chain contract. So you had the buyer of his property had a property to sell. That buyer was buying his buyer's property. So that was the A to B transaction. His buyer was the B.
It's a lot of stuff to balance.
The B to C transaction. And then his purchase out of state was the C to D transaction. So we had a chain of 4 closings that were all contingent upon one another.
Oh, no.
In this situation, the buyer for his buyer's property goes MIA. Completely MIA.
The whole
stops talking to the lender.
Balance tower.
We have no idea what happens. The buyer goes MIA for like 3 weeks in the contract. Now, we can't do anything.
Right.
Because the contract hasn't, like, none of the dates had triggered to give us any options to do in the contract. So in this case, it ended up being a lot of legwork on the with help side. We're under contract, but we have to get the contract to the closing. So that required me calling the brokers on the transaction before us to figure out what was happening, and then asking for permission to help with resources, because the lender that the buyer was using was my preferred lender at the time. Like, I knew the people that ran the operations for the company. They were in charge of executive level. So I didn't know the loan officer, but I knew the execs within the corporation. Okay. So I got the permission to reach out and ask a couple of questions, see if there was anything we could do. So I call and talk to one of the execs. He's a good friend of mine. We've been shooting together, and went down to, he went and stepped in on our behalf. He got in touch with the manager. The manager I talked to was able to find out with the loan officer what was happening with the transaction. Through the loan officer, the manager, and the buyer's broker, they were able to figure out that the loan officer, or that the buyer, had actually lost their job in the middle of the contract. But fortunately, got a new one.
That's lucky.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I took on all of this legwork to find out with the loan officer and say, hey, where are we? What do we need? What's this going to cause? It did cause delays.
Right.
But all 4 of those transactions happened because my measly without help service plan had me going and talking to everybody and getting the lenders to work overtime and jump underwriting queues to make this deal happen. It was like, I want to say a 10-day delay, but I was talking to all transactions. So our A to B that our buyer needed to have sold to buy our house. And then I was talking to the B to C or the C to D in out of state that my seller was going to buy, and just working to keep both sides of each contract together, and the relationships that we had established and the trust that I was able to build with the other brokers involved in the conversation because of the relationships that I had established with this mortgage company saved that deal. I showed up to this closing because of I wanted to do something nice for the seller because it was super stressful.
Yeah.
So he showed up. He had his whole RV loaded, or the U-Haul loaded. They were leaving closing and taking it out of state. I show up to closing with a bunch of like road trip gift cards. Like, here's gas cards. I had like road trip snacks, and this guy to this day is still friends with me. And this is the kind of stuff that we do. Simply List does not mean you have a lower service level from your providers. Our commitment is to our consumers. We want to give you choice. We want you to have the flexibility to sell. We want you to have the flexibility to save a lot of money when you sell. We operate on volume. So we're able to process a lot more sales, and we have decades of experience doing that at this point for these limited service engagements.
And, we've been around for so long and we're so well known that we are making presentations to even groups out there.
Oh, yeah. I've been involved as a director with our local association of realtors. I know a lot of people that are in the Atlanta Realtors Association. I've been a national podcast host in real estate. Celine is a freaking doctor. Like, she's brilliant. You get her behind working a problem, she's not going to stop until it's done, and she's going to have a pretty simple solution for it to what seems like a pretty complex problem. And I know this because she does this for me all the time. So, I mean, that's just one example. Another example, we had a longtime investor. And this investor had a property that was really having a hard time selling. Like they were getting buyers who just weren't vetted. They weren't getting buyers that were represented by anybody who really knew what was going on. And they wanted some more experience in the deal. Now, they don't sell with help all the time. As a matter of fact, they may sell with help once every 2 or 3 years. But when they have a property that's a little bit more legwork, they'll bring us in. And every single time we're going through and doing the valuation, helping them adjust their pricing. And usually that's what ends up being the issue, and tracking the market. Investors are really savvy, but you don't have access to the data that we do. So we're able to track and see in your zip code, in your price point, how many showings are homes getting per month, last month. Okay, how many has yours gotten this month? Let's try and figure out why. And then we work through things. Like, there's only so much you can change. You can change the price. You can change the collateral, which is your description or your photos, your marketing of the property. And you can change the condition of the property. But the condition is not an inexpensive change. You can't change the location, but you can change the price and the condition. So oftentimes when our with help
Marketing.
or when our without help is really in need, it comes down to our guidance on how to get your property looking better. And that's one thing that we do offer on the with help. So if you want our opinion on what's keeping buyers away, we'll go out and we'll look at the other homes that are in your competition. What is a buyer going to be touring when they're looking at your home? What are the other homes? We'll figure that out. And oftentimes after switching to the with help or using us for with help to get that additional knowledge and insight so that you're not wasting months on the market trying to figure it out on your own, only to be told after 2 months of listing, hey, why isn't my house selling? And we look at you and we say, all right, let's do a consult. And you get you upgraded and we're like, here's what you need to do. And it ends up being photography, staging, price adjustments. We get it done. We bring you to market. And lo and behold, usually that's what gets it sold. Selling real estate is not rocket surgery. You're not creating something that's extreme, but you are navigating a lot of personalities. You're navigating the consumer's buying paradigm.
You know what I think it is? So
What?
obviously it's fishing, right?
Oh, yeah.
For a buyer. But you know in Bridgerton where they all get you watched it with me. So in Bridgerton when they all get together.
You can have the screen for this one.
Thanks. Where they all get together and they're in this debutante ball, and then they all do this coordinated dance together, and everyone's twirling around, but they all twirl around so artistically that it's a visual, nice swirly stuff, and they're all perfect steps. I think it's like that, where everyone has their role to play. And if you don't do the right steps, then somebody's going to crash, right? And I've never seen anybody crash in Bridgerton.
It is like a dance.
Yes. A coordinated dance. It really is.
It is a very coordinated dance.
Now, sometimes, when you're twirling, can you reach up and get a crystal or something? Maybe. I mean, you can do some cool things, but you're still going to have to twirl, so...
Thank you.
That's my analogy.
Thank you for giving me something completely out of left field that I never would have expected. I love you.
But that's what it is.
Whether you're a longtime investor, whether you're somebody who has never sold a house before, but maybe you bought last year and you don't have the equity in the house to afford selling it, well, our pathway is going to give you that avenue. You're going to have experience. You're going to have quality experience. Can I tell you how many times I've lost an earnest money battle to any other national or local brokerage here in Georgia?
I don't know of any.
That's because that never happened.
Oh.
Never got into an earnest money battle with a broker and lost.
I was going to say, I don't think so.
And I've had some where the brokers were kind of ignoring us and threatening to make us put the money into the court system. And guess what? We called their bluff because we knew we were right. And we forced the broker to give the earnest money to our client, not theirs. That's happened 8 times.
Okay, Simply
I love it. Simply List. This is about Simply List because you want to know that you have...
We are a married couple. We're high school sweethearts.
We are.
We've been together for a while.
It is Simply List because you want to know that the people in your corner know what they're doing, right? Not only have I brokered over $1 billion in sales, personally, I've sold over $250 million in sales. Celine, $100 million, $40 million annually.
Well, it depends on the year.
Yeah.
The markets are different.
The market, the year, we're not selling as much as we did in 21 and 22, I'll tell you that much.
Nobody.
But you know what? We're selling a lot more than every other agent is in this market right now, and that gives us insight that any other full-service agent doesn't have. You get a full-service agent today who sells 4 to 8 homes a year, they have no idea what's happening in the different parts of the market.
We keep up with the market so well that we have real estate investor groups asking us, what are you seeing? We have politicians asking us, what are you seeing?
Yep.
And they ask for updates regularly from us only.
Yeah. Our local leaders, I send updates so that they know what's happening in the real estate market. And data is a big thing. Celine's background is in veterinary medicine and biology, which is brilliant. But she grew up in real estate. That's why she did medicine, right?
But
now I'm hitting your mic.
It's really the same thing, though, if you think about it, right? You have a problem and you have to solve it. And you have to get to a different state, which is I need to sell my house or I need to buy a house. And really, it's not that much different. I mean, you're creating a treatment plan or you're creating a plan to buy or sell.
It's all about
Same thing.
create a plan, implement the plan.
People relationships.
And my background is in finance. So I have a finance degree from UGA. I used to be a licensed stockbroker. I could trade anything on Wall Street with a 7 and 66. And all of that is broken down into one other thing that Celine and I have done. And that is we're authors. So from the ground up, how two millennial high school sweethearts created a multi-million-dollar real estate investment portfolio from scratch. And it's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
We did that for SEO. But this is what we did. We believe in the product that we sell.
Yes, we have been investing since I was 22. So
we've been investing since before either of us were licensed.
So we have also put our foot where our mouth is. So we've been there. We know what happens. We're not just agents that have nothing to our name, nor no portfolio to show, and just are telling people how to spend their money. That's not us. We've been there. We're actually in it with you, and we care about our community because we live here too.
Yeah. I think that that covers a lot of it. It gives a couple of stories, so you can see kind of how we interact, how we can maneuver to make the consumer's experience the best that it can be. Whether you're going to try Simply List out for the first time or if you're going to use us for your 100th time, just know that Celine and I are deeply appreciative of everything that our customer base has done for Simply List. And we hope that these updates are going to provide a much better user experience for everybody who chooses to use our program throughout Georgia. And we hope that you'll choose us because, we're family owned. Everything that you do with Simply List stays right here in the community.
We're also veteran founded.
We are.
So
women owned too.
Yes.
She's got a bigger percentage than me.
Our website is simplylist.atlanta.com.
Mm-hmm.
And our phone number 470-309-1545. Again, 470-309-1545. Any other contact information that you want to give out? Just phone number and we do have an office here. You can actually come and meet us.
By appointment.
But we're real. You can actually talk to us.
We are real. I refuse to be real.
Are you not AI?
No. I want to become AI. I want to know everything. No. God, no. Ugh. Hate all that. We like having a good time. We like having fun. Life is fun.
Yeah.
And we enjoy what we're doing because this role gives us the ability to provide a service that we don't think exists at a quality level.
So many people have said, thank you so much. Don't ever go away.
There's a lot of imitators, okay? People who have come up with names similar to us. We are the originals. We started under Select Realty and we gave it the Simply List name in 2016 as part of a differentiation of our product lines.
It's been 10 years since we did that.
It has been 10 years as Simply List.
Holy cow.
I have been the principal broker for 12 years and I am in my 16th year of real estate.
I got a veterinary degree in between that. So.
Yep. And I started when it was short sales. Fun fact, did you know that 80% of real estate agents have been in the industry for 2 years or less? 90% 5 years or less? There's only 10% of the real estate agents in the industry have been in the industry longer than 5 years. So if you want somebody who's seen down markets before, I saw the worst one.
Oh, 08?
Yeah. I was I started in the worst one. So we know how to navigate.
Yeah, you know how to do short sales.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There are very few parts of the real estate industry I have not touched directly or indirectly as part of either being the broker of the transaction or the agent of record. One other plug before we go is just know Simply List is our primary focus. That's what Celine and that's Celine's division. She runs it every day. I'm helping her with it. The tech on the website, it's all in-house. It's the two of us. Every once in a while, we'll hire a web dev where we need it, but it's our family. And as part of that, we have Select Realty, which is our full service brokerage. We have about 40 agents on that outside of us that are selling real estate throughout Metro Atlanta.
About 50.
Well, and then we have our commercial team, which has about 10 on there, and that makes up the difference. And the commercial team is TOA Commercial, and that team is rocking and rolling. They do some really cool stuff between hospitality. So there's some historic properties that we've got, commercial leases, historic property renovations that we've got under contract. We can't talk about that now, but when we can talk about it, it's going to be great. And, hotel purchases, land, office space, their warehouses, industrial.
They have their own special MLS, so we won't go into that.
We're not going to go into that, but our commercial team can transact nationwide because we have a broker of record in every state. So if there's a commercial opportunity where you are and you need to talk about what can be done, feel free. We would love to talk to you about any commercial opportunity nationwide.
Come sit down with us and we'll talk.
Yeah. All right. I'm Chris Evans, principal broker here at Simply List.
I'm Celine Evans.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today and considering Simply List for your next listing.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Living right here at home, Georgia living, where the good days go. Neighbors waving as you pass along. Yeah, we're right here at home on Georgia living.